Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with Test of Endurance event, and I'm at race 59. This is an important race if you're contemplating competing in the pro leagues because it gives you a 300% SP bonus that activates as soon as you finish this race. So you really have to decide if this is important enough to you that you want to blow through this event, or since you have 4 days, 14 hours left, whether you may want to delay this and use the boost a little bit later. We'll talk about that on my showdown video for this once I activate this particular bonus, because I will explain to you a little bit about how this bonus affects your strategy when it comes to showdown. Now, talking about the current event, my lock-ins are the Jaguar, Black Series, Jaguar XE, Audi LMS, and finally the McLaren. Now, fortunately for me, most of these cars are fully maxed, so I'm not going to really struggle through this. But what I found out from finishing it on my second account is the speed trap challenges here are not that bad for any of these cars. And then actually it's this, and this. But once you get to the end here, this speed trap challenge goes to lock-in number 3. So you want to think about that. If your XE Jaguar is not very well upgraded, but this car is, you might want to swap them. But there's a catch. Around race 71, it goes to the second car, and it is a basic time run challenge. And for the Black Series, it's like an 8-point something. That makes it more difficult for the Black Series to get through without stage 6s. So ultimately, you're not going to get through without some stage 6s. The question is how many and which ones, plus fusions, right? So the event's not super difficult. Lock-in number 5 does not require any stage 6 for the McLaren. You get through all of its last 10 races basically without worrying about that. The relays will rely on all the cars. Therefore, the more upgraded the cars are, the better. Of course, there's, that's a pretty simple point there, because on the relays, the slower car is going to be the handicap. The faster car is supposed to help catch up and make things basically easy. Now, with the Audi LMS basically fully maxed, I don't have a problem here. I won't have an issue getting through. But in another account, what I had to do was rely on the Zonda Barchetta, which actually was pretty fully upgraded as well, and it had no problem. But if you had the Barchetta and not the Audi, do not lock in the Zonda in the beginning, because if you lock it in 2 or 3, you won't have a car for lock-in number 4. You'll have to be stuck using either the LFA Nürburgring or the Audi LMS. So it really depends on what cars you have. If you finish the duality, here we go, here's that claiming that you must do. So you can't skip this, you have to claim it. Once you claim it, it's active for 24 hours. So that clock starts ticking now. This means that if you were going to want to grind showdown, you probably want to go jump out of this and get started on that. So I'm not worried about that. I don't really care about showdown, but we'll do the showdown later just to see what happens. But here I want to finish getting my car, and I'm going to blow through these last 20 races. We're probably going to cut out some of these races on the final cut of the video, simply because it's a lot of races and some of them are not that important. What are important are these coming up, where there are a bunch of speed traps. But first, let's take a look at the time this opponent runs, which I suspect isn't that quick, probably in the 10s. Yep. So this race, up to this point, none of the cars' challenges are really that difficult. But starting from here on, you're going to start having some of the more challenging races. And that's where people generally get stuck for a while if the cars are not upgraded enough. But if you have enough upgrades, even if you have 3 stage 6s, and they're the pretty decent ones, I think you make it through the entire event. Okay, so one more race. This is a time race again. Okay, with the maxed Audi, of course, it's a breeze, but you definitely should be able to get through even with a little bit less upgrades. However, this car does about 9 point something stage 5 only, so up to this point stage 5 only should get you through most of this stuff. But from here on, you may need some stage 6s. Let's see what cars get what speed traps and then what the challenge numbers are. Okay, first one is 298. Now, remember, 298 isn't that hard for this car. This will do 298 pretty easily. If you recall, the way to do speed traps with this car is basically go straight to 6 and then hit nitrous. Well, in this case, of course, it's a maxed car, so it's very easy. But remember, 300 plus required at least some stage 6s with this car, and transmission does nothing for it. So if you have a Trans S6, you should not even install it if you're doing speed trap runs. Alright, so that was 298 for the Audi. Let's see, the next one should be for the, I would believe it's for the Jaguar. Let's see if I'm correct. Yes. So it's 187. Again, for this car, 187, pretty easy. I don't need to retune because the car's well upgraded. Remember, it has 8 gears, and really you want to push the nitrous all the way through 8th to get the best speed trap out of it. But this car will do a pretty decent speed trap when it's fully maxed. Even if it's not fully maxed, with nitrous being a pretty important one for speed traps, you'd want that for stage 6. You want to have stage 6 nitrous. Turbo engine intake are all helpful for the purpose of speed traps. Alright, and 262 for this car, again, not that difficult. Little difficult if you only have stage 5, but with anything beyond that, it's actually not too bad. So 262 should be no problem. Again, fully maxed car right on through. So these are the 3 easier speed traps. And remember, lock-in number 3 gets the number 72 race speed trap. So we're going to see that in a second. It's a little buggy with this right now. What's happening is the game is actually going to the next race part even as it's giving me the reward. I don't know why it's lagging like that, but it happens in my stuff a lot. Okay, so lock-in number 5 we know has to be this guy here, and we'll lock that in. That doesn't look like it is properly tuned, or it's tuned for something else. Let me go look at my McLaren real quick. That's a really fast car at stage 5 only. You'll have over 2,000 Evo, and it's going to be pretty much a, whoops, not hit that. At stage 5 only, that McLaren will have over 2,000 Evo and will have the ability to run about 8.4s. So it's extremely quick. I'm having a problem scrolling apparently. So it's a little buggy right now. Let me, I want to do it the hard way. Let me restart this. Hang on one second. Alright, we're back. We're going to go ahead and go race. I kind of skipped some of the stuff I was doing because first it didn't want to scroll, then it had other issues. But I got the McLaren now set up at stage 5 full fusion. So we're going to go ahead and move this on. It was at stage 4 full fusion untuned. I had to add fusions and tune it. Didn't want to make you guys watch through all that stuff. We want to get to the good stuff here. Okay, so the relays can be difficult if your cars are not fast enough, but generally speaking, the relays are not too bad. And if you have fully maxed cars, the relays are going to be super simple. Your cars that are really fast will more than make up for the one slow car, the tier 4 Jag. And even the McLaren is really not slow. I mean, it's a fast car. Oh, there's a nice Indy car there. So here we go. Get the AMG. Again, a lot of players who've been playing long enough will have most of these cars maxed, simply because, you know, the AMG Black Series being a lot of events. The XE was a milestone, followed by a use in Showdown, followed by use as a PC car. So many of us basically had multiple opportunities to get this car basically fully built. That's not the proper shift pattern. I don't even know what the proper shift pattern is. I'm just relying on the fact that the car's built enough and the event's not that tough to make it through here. Now, on the other hand, the Audi shift pattern, I did make an effort to learn it from Zoocar. So this one, I am hopefully using the proper shift pattern. Okay, so here we go. right? So Audi has an interesting instant second type shift pattern. Now the McLaren, I didn't learn the shift pattern either. I have no idea how to shift it. I'm just going to use it and see if I can at least get dyno, and then one day soon I'll figure out exactly how to run it. But I suspect this is probably going to get me at least dyno, even though I'm probably using nitrous at the wrong time. But didn't really seem to hurt me that much, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so we're now 66, right? So you're about 14 races away from 80. It's supposed to start to get pretty tough. The reason I don't show anything before race 59 is because there's nothing to really talk about. If you can't make it that far, your car's definitely not upgraded enough. If you made it that far, then the real question would be, did you get the stage 6s that'll help you during the earlier part of the event? And the later part of the event, well, do you have enough upgrades? Because this is the only part of the event that's really challenging, if you want to call it that. But it's challenging simply because you don't have fusions or you don't have stage 6s. If you have both, it wouldn't be that challenging. Alright, so I'm testing nitrous in different gears because I want to figure out what the optimal one is. I don't know. I mean, 8.38 is the dyno. That was an 8.37 run. Maybe I use nitrous in second, in third, and fourth just to see what the differences are. Seems to get a 0 RPM drop when you get it on perfect. I'm not sure if the 0 RPM drop is good for you or not either. But again, it seems to be doing dyno at least, so I'm not too hurt about it. Let's try fourth gear nitrous. See if that's any better or worse. Looks like it's almost the same. There's always second gear and then there's fifth gear nitrous. So plenty of different gears to test it on. And it looks like this car is being used for quite a few of the runs. Now this is run so that was 67, 66, 67, 68. We're almost up to 70. I think we're going to go back to one of the other cars in a second here. Alright, so I'm trying short shifting out a second a little bit, see if that helps. And no. Doesn't seem to help. Alright, so 8.39. That's actually one of my slower runs. You always want to try to run faster than whatever you're dynoing, but of course it really depends on the car's upgrade, the shift pattern, the tune. But I mean, this car, I don't think you're going to tune it to beat dyno necessarily. It's more like just driving it to beat dyno if I can. Right, so that was fifth gear nitrous. Nope, much slower. Also, I didn't get the 0 RPM drop, and it seems to have actually run quite a bit slower than if I had the 0 RPM drop. So again, for the shift pattern, you know, Zukar tend to be a good source. Adreno A88 is a good source. These guys tend to do the world record tunes, and therefore they have the best optimal shift pattern for a maxed car. You can tweak that shift pattern based on a not maxed car, usually just to compensate for the differences in nitrous duration, the strength of the other parts pushing, the grip. You know, if the transmission tuning is different, of course, the speed at which the RPMs move might be different. So these all affect ultimately your shift pattern as well. Okay, so alright, so I didn't quite get the right launch there again, so this is probably not going to be a great run. Actually, no, that was okay. That still worked okay. Look at that. Yeah, still right around dyno, so that should be alright. Okay, so those are not the so interesting runs yet. This is the interesting one. This is one of what I consider to be a possible hurdle run for people without enough upgrades, because you're going to use the second lock-in, okay? So the second lock-in gets a tough race. The third lock-in gets a tougher speed trap. So you want to put the car that you have that can handle either in the positions of 2 and 3. So I'm not even trying too hard here, but this is basically 8.8 for the Black Series. which if you put the Jaguar in this position, I suspect that instead of an 8.8, you're probably looking at something along the line of a 11.3 or 11.2 or something. I don't know what it is exactly. Somebody who switched the spots may be able to tell. But the point is, 8.8 is actually pretty tough for this car without stage 6s. You have to have a few stage 6s to make that. So again, that gives you an idea. Number 2, lock-in's most difficult challenge is right there. Okay, outside of the relays themselves. Number 3's most difficult challenge is this one. This one, I can tell you, 204 mile per hour isn't that easy to hit without, in fact, it's probably impossible to hit without stage 6s. And with stage 6s, you definitely want nitrous, and you definitely want engine turbo intake type upgrades as far as 6s are concerned to try to get you that 204 mile per hour. If you had to tune, the way I would tune it is to put final drive to end that 204 mile per hour in the top gear, lower grip to 53.47, short duration nitrous, and then try to time the nitrous to push the car to the end. I was able to get that 204 mile per hour with just nitrous, turbo, and intake stage 6s as a test run, so I know it is possible without full stage 6s, but it's certainly not the easiest thing to deal with. Now, the next speed trap is right here, 76 and then 79. Now 76 I believe is a speed trap for this car, and 79 is obviously a speed trap for that car. Okay, so let's go ahead and get through these last few and get the car. The relays, again, the only relay that's going to be super difficult well, I wouldn't even say super difficult. The one that's marked as super difficult is race 80, the final relay. These guys coming up to that really aren't that impressive. If you have the cars that can beat the actual challenges as far as speed traps and time runs up to this point, even if it's showing a bit of difficulty, you should still be able to get through this, because you can see that it is T4, T5, T5, so you can calculate the total time based off of what these cars run, and all you have to do is make sure your 3 car, even if you have to tune it for quarter mile runs rather than half mile, can get under that total time, and you should be good. Okay, so I should have no problem, obviously, because I have this car here running 4 point something in the quarter mile, and then even the last car is not a slouch in the quarter mile. So these two are really very fast for quarter mile purposes. So now we're back to the McLaren. Again, this car does not need any stage 6 for this event, but you want full fusion if you can. You don't have to have full fusion though. I think all the challenges are beatable even if you're missing some epic fusions. So that's really how strong this car is, even with lower upgrades. So very good car, but not as good as the prize car Audi that we're about to get. That's even better. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay. 74, 75, all use this, which are not going to be really that interesting. This car, again, 8.385 on the dyno, runs 8.3 something so far for me. I haven't been able to get it under that. But again, shift pattern may make a difference if you get it just right. Oh, what did I just do? Alright, well, I just used nitrous in 5th. Very slow. Late launch, very slow. But again, as you can see, not even a challenge. I mean, we're talking 11 seconds versus 8.5. It's not even close. And that goes for all of the McLaren challenges, really. It's nothing here is that difficult for this car. Okay, let's go. Okay, so using nitrous in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, pretty much, I think 3rd or 4th is probably where you want to be. Again, you know, timing the shifts may have something to do with it. The 0 RPM drop certainly doesn't seem to hurt it, so that's always good news. But 10-second versus 8.4. You know, 75, 76. These races, 74, 75 is really nothing. Now we're up to the 76 speed trap. This is the one. Oh, it goes to the first car. Now the first car, you should have locked in a max car anyway. That's what I suggested in my first video. So you really should have a car that have no problem hitting this speed trap. At least I hope so. You know, for example, the Jaguar, it's going to do well over 300, so it's not an issue. But yeah, so you want the first car to be ready for this speed trap. Now this speed trap, again, isn't the easiest, but it's not the hardest either. So 2 to 3 stage 6, it should do it. However, any car you lock in the first lock-in, you really want to pick something as close to max as possible. That's just to also leverage that for the relays. It should always be that way with all these events. And that's usually the car choice that is the most flexible. So meaning you have a bunch of cars to pick from, pick the strongest one that you have built. Right? Just because a car theoretically is faster, but you don't have parts, doesn't help you. The challenges are adjusted based on which car you're using, so keep that in mind. Okay, 20 red tokens. Can't complain. So we're coming right up on the end of this already. So again, the event, not super difficult, not super easy either, but pretty standard fare here with relays, speed trap relay, finishing up. So you got the first car, last car. For this one, this again, it's going to be super easy if your first car is fully maxed and your McLaren's at least stage 5 full fusion. Nothing difficult about this relay, even though the opponents look impressive. And we have the Tuatera, which in real life is quite impressive a car, but here in this relay, not so much. And then you have the Plymouth Ride by Kim Havoc. That's a great looking car too. One of those old school muscle cars with custom. It's a customized hot rod, I guess you would call it, and it's pretty cool. Dodge Charger, I believe. Okay. Or Plymouth something. It's either Plymouth or Dodge. Well, this one I think is a Dodge. That's a Dodge. Okay. So easy relay done. Now, what about this next one? This next one is going to be extreme for stage 5 only McLaren, simply because at full Evo stage 5 full fusion setup, it's a little hard to hit that. Okay, we'll view the event. It'll tell you super extreme. You're not going to do this. Okay, so how do we do it? We just go back and we'll tune it to do it. It's a very simple tune to get this car to hit that speed trap. I'm going to show you right now. All you have to do, I mean, ultimately, really, you don't even have to tune it if you're careful enough with the way you drive it, because it says 283 right here. You need about, I think, 305 for that challenge, but the car is fast enough to do it. Easy way to make sure you hit 305, move this to 305. Okay, that says 310, so you got some margin of error there. I mean, you can go, that's 306, so that's definitely going to cut it. I'm going to leave it at 310 because I don't want to mess with changing this back again, but I'm going to lose a little bit of speed here, I think, but it wouldn't hurt me for the final relays since I have, you know, max cars elsewhere. This way I don't have to come back and retune this car. It just, it'll get through the speed trap. I'll just use it the way it is for the final relays, and I'm done. Okay, let's go. Still says extreme because your dyno says 296. The challenge is 305. But as you can see in a few seconds, the challenge is not really that bad. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to launch it. 6th gear. And that's basically all she wrote. Okay, car will top out in the final gear on nitrous very easily at stage 5 only. So whatever you put it in, now again, like I said, you don't necessarily even have to tune it. You could probably time the shifting or nitrous right to get that 305 anyway, but it's certainly a lot easier if you just retune it. I'm not sure I can do it without retuning, quite honestly. So I prefer to retune, and this way I can be sure that I won't have a problem. Now, final relay again would be actually extreme if you don't have fully maxed cars. In my case, it's actually just says challenging, which isn't. That's easy. Okay, challenging means easy. So let's go ahead and put the big old gap on all these guys and finish up and win that car. And off I go. Here we go. Number 2. Now, what you can do to figure out if you're ready for these relays is when I get to the end screen, you'll see what the opponent ran in total time. Then you can go and test run each of your cars in the quarter mile and just add the time together. It's a little bit of math, I know, but you can add the time together. As long as you're under what these 5 cars are going to run, you should be fine for the relay. And again, I'm not even sure if I'm shifting this thing right. I never use it for anything, so until this event it was just sitting in my garage doing nothing, but now it came out. So 21 seconds so far on the other side, 17 on my end, so naturally I have a huge advantage here, and this is only going to make it bigger because this Audi is very fast. Let's go ahead and get this done. Okay, so that's a 4.5 second run in the quarter mile. So 26 seconds now, I'm at 21 seconds. So you can easily look at the total time on that end and then go back and check all your cars, kind of add together the quarter mile. Now, if you're a little short or you're struggling a bit, remember you can tune the car for quarter mile over half mile and see if it'll do better. I mean, I'm not saying it would, but certainly sometimes a little tuning can eke out just enough to get you through. And that is all she wrote. 30 seconds total, 31 seconds almost for the opponent's side, 27 seconds on my end. But remember, even if you're slower by almost a second on each of these, as long as you go under 31, you should be okay. You can still win. It'll be close, but you'll still win. And with that, some more gold keys and the prize card. Let's go ahead and collect that. This is again one of the best cars to come out of this series. I really like this car. I like the way it looks. It's a legit race car. Certainly not a drag race car, but hey, who cares? It's a video game. But very cool car. Uses Audi fusions. Very easy to get fusions. You could buy Audi TTRS, strip them over and over until you fill up this thing with all epic fusions and all fusion period. Not only that, it is a very effective car at low upgrades. You're going to have fun with this car in live racing. It can beat Dyno if you shift it properly. It is super fast, fully maxed. I don't normally have the desire to fully max anything, but I may very well spend a little bit and get this one fully maxed. I'm just thinking about it. No promises, but definitely super cool car. Looks good. Looks very different than your typical street car. So this is not custom street racing car. This is more like straight up racetrack type car being used in street racing. Yeah. Anyway, the game doesn't make a lot of sense with a lot of its stuff. In any case, let me know what you think. I mean, basically what I'm telling you is that the lock-ins, the first car should be maxed. The second car and the third car, if you're picking between the Jaguar and the Black Series, just try to put, well, you're kind of stuck. Either way, you're going to have a few stage 6s for each car. But put them in either way that you like. Whichever one you think you do better on time, you put in second lock-in. Whatever one you think you can do a better speed trap with, you put it in the third lock-in. Fourth lock-in, if you're using the Barchetta, the LFA, I can't help you as much. But the Audi 298 really isn't that bad for the Audi. That's pretty doable. And then finally, the McLaren does not need any stage 6s. So good luck in this event. Feel free to comment, ask questions, and I'll see what I can do to help you if it's something that I can actually look up and try to give you an answer on. If you like the video, leave a like my channel, like to see these videos when I put them up, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.